Okay, so now we're continuing on. We're talking about, we're in Genesis chapter 20, and this is where Abraham and Sarah went towards, they were traveling on this land towards Kadesh and Shur and sojourned in Gerar. And the king there, Abimelech, took Sarah into the house. Abraham was upset, of course, but Abimelech, he waited. He didn't get right away get her to go to bed with him and this, that, and the other. And the Lord visited him and told him that you are a dead man. The woman that's in your house, that's a married woman. And he said, and Abimelech said to the Lord that he was like, Lord, would you slay a righteous man? You know what I mean? Abraham said that was his sister. And she even said herself that they were brother and sister. You know what I mean? In the integrity of my heart and innocency of my hands, I have not done this. And God said to him, yeah, I know thou hast done this in the integrity of your heart. For I have also withheld thee from sinning against me. Therefore suffered I thee not to touch her. Don't mess with her. Please don't touch her. Okay? Now restore therefore this man to his wife, for he is a prophet, and he shall pray for you, and you shall live. And if you does not restore him, know that thou shalt surely die, you and all that are yours. Now, considering Abimelech he had his wife, you know what I mean? But he wanted her too, Sarah too. So, you know what I mean? And the Lord had, this was a big issue. But now, when he said that, when the Lord said, I also withheld you from sinning against me. Stop and think about that statement right there. I held you from sinning against me. Please, people, do not make this mistake in thinking that this is old Bible stuff that happened in the Bible years ago or whatever. There are things that happen in your life today. The Lord kept you from sinning against him because you don't know all of the other things that are coming, or how you have to so many people do not know the things you're going to have to answer for when you're in that grave. Oh, people don't know the hard, most everything we do in our lives. I realize now, most everything we do in our lives while we're living will have to be answered for in some kind of way while we're in the heart of that grave. You know what I mean? And you'd be surprised at the things that it's a spiritual world, so you don't know. How could you possibly know? You know what I mean? The Lord, and that said, now let's go back to this statement the Lord saying to this person, or imagine the Lord saying it to you. I kept you from sinning against, I kept you from sinning against me. Okay? That one time when you could have got that one time when you were over there, whatever the case was, you could fill in the blank yourself. You know what I mean? But the Lord kept you from sinning against him. Okay? Especially those cases where it was some really bad sin about to happen and your life could have been in the balance. You know what I mean? And the Lord kept you from it. You know what I mean? Or not only necessarily kept you from the horror of what you were about to do, the sin that you're about to do, but the repercussions of it and how you're going to have to deal with the Lord about this particular matter. I kept you from sinning against me. Oh, I hope you can understand where that's coming from. You know what I mean? More so that, or shall I say, for you to really understand it, that statement, yes, yea, I know that you did this out of the integrity of your heart, the Lord saying, for I also withheld thee from sinning against me. just imagine that's you he's talking about. And any situation that only you and the Lord knows about. I kept you from sinning against me. You know what I mean? Oh, he's such a merciful and wonderful God, and his son, Yeshua Jesus, because there's so many things that we don't know. That we don't even know. You know what I mean? And the enemy's behind it all. And you didn't even know that you were going down there and doing that. I can think of the hundreds of things, you know what I mean, that I could have gotten involved with. You know, I could have got, you know what I mean, and didn't go that route. You know what I mean? Because the Lord kept me from that. It wasn't me not going that route. It was the Lord keeping me from going that route, or keeping me so that I wouldn't have to deal with it all with him. I hope you can understand that. Oh, okay. Maybe somewhere there'll be another case in the Bible where I'll say, look at this case here. The Lord kept that person from sinning against him. Okay. All right. All right. Now, therefore, restore the man to his wife, for he is a prophet, and he shall pray for thee, and thou shalt live. And if you don't restore her, know that you shall surely die, all you and all that is in your house. And Abimelech rose early the next morning, and he called all of his servants and told all these things in their ears. And the men were scared. They were sorely afraid of Abraham in this whole situation. And then Abimelech called Abraham and said unto him, what is this thou hast done to me? What have you, and what have I offended? How did I offend you? You know what I mean? Thou hast brought onto me and onto my kingdom this great sin. You know, thou hast done all these deeds, and, unto me that ought not have been done. And Abimelech said unto Abraham, what did you see that you would have done this thing? And Abraham said, look, behold, I thought surely the fear of God is not in this place, and that y'all would slay me for my wife's sake. And yet she is my sister. Now you have to understand. I'll say it and then you'll understand it. She is my sister. She's the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother. And she became my wife. And it came to pass when God caused me to wander from my father's house, and I said unto her, you know what I mean? This is thy kindness, which thou shalt show me unto me. At every place whether we shall come, I shall tell people that we made a pact that everywhere we go, we're going to tell everybody that we're brother and sister. Okay? And Abimelech took sheep and oxen and men servants and women servants and gave them to Abraham to restore him Sarah his wife. And restored him Sarah his wife. Okay, this is again, Abraham is collecting and collecting and collecting blessings after blessing. And Abimelech said, behold, my land is before thee. Dwell wherever you want. You know what I mean? And unto Sarah he said, behold, I have given your brother pieces of silver. Behold, he is of thee a covering of the eyes unto all that with thee. And with all others, thus, and then he allowed Sarah to go back to Abraham. So Abraham prayed unto God and healed Abimelech and his wife and the maidservants, and they was able again now to bear children. For the Lord has closed up the wombs of the house of Abimelech because of Sarah, Abraham's wife. All right, that's chapter 21. Chapter 20. Now here comes chapter 21. Okay. Oh, okay, here we go. And the Lord visited Sarah as he had said. And remember when the angels said to Sarah, this time next year, you're going to have a son. And you're going to name his name Isaac. Here we go. And the Lord visited Sarah as he had said. And the Lord did unto Sarah as he had spoken. Remember, this is a promise. It should have said here, and the Lord visited Sarah as he had said. And the Lord did unto Sarah as he promised. Okay, for Sarah conceived and bare Abraham a son in his old age, and at the set time that God had spoken to him. And Abraham called his son that the Lord that was born unto him, whom Sarah had bared him, Isaac. Okay, and Abraham circumcised his son Isaac, being 8 days old, and God had come as God had commanded him. And Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born unto him. And Sarah said, God hath made me to laugh, so that all that hear me will laugh with me. And she said, who would have said unto Abraham that Sarah would have given children, and I have borne him a son in my old age. And the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham made a great feast the same day that the child was weaned. Okay. All right. Now this thing's going to go into the hyperspace. Okay. Another world. Ooh, here we go. All right. So he's having this little feast for Isaac. You know what I mean? And, and Hagar was there. Hagar and Ishmael. Ishmael's 13 years older. And when she saw, and Sarah saw that the son of Hagar, the Egyptian, which she had born into Abraham, mocking Isaac, like, being a little older brother, smacking him around or playing with him or being disrespectful in some kind of way, whatever. Wherefore she said unto Abraham, Sarah said, cast out this bondwoman and her son, for the son of this bondwoman shall not bear or be an heir with my son, even with Isaac. And this thing was very grievous in Abraham's sight because of his son. And God said unto Abraham, let it not be grievous in thy sight of the lad. And because of the bondwoman, and all that Sarah has said unto thee, hearken unto her voice, for in Isaac shall thy seed be called. Okay, real quick note here. Now here is where when Sarah wanted Abraham to get rid of Hagar and Ishmael, the Lord talked to Abraham, took it to the Lord, and the Lord said, and God said unto Abraham, let it not be grievous in thy sight of the lad, and because of the bondwoman. And in that Sarah hath said unto thee, hearken, what Sarah has said unto thee, hearken unto her voice, for in Isaac shall thy seed be called. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and took bread and a bottle of water and gave it unto Hagar, putting it on her shoulder and the child, and sent them away and departed, and they wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. And when the water was spent in the bottle, and she cast the child under the shrub, and she went and sat down over against him a good way off. You know what I'm going to start doing right here? I think this is be a good place to do this. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you the Bible that I know. And I'll refer to these other Bibles, smaller little things, whatever. But I'm going to tell you the story. Okay. All right. Because it's going to be the same thing. The difference is going to be, I'm going to tell you probably a little more detail of what actually happened, as opposed to these little quick, fast, real quick, fast, succinct versions of the Holy Bible, this is a Holy Bible, but anyway. All right, where am I at? So here's where Abraham gives Hagar and Ishmael a week's worth of milk and water and stuff, and send them on their way. While they're out there, or shall I say a week or two goes by, now the food is gone, everything is gone. And she's out there crying, and she put the boy over there kind of in the distance. She put the boy over there kind of in the distance. And because she was crying, and the angel came out and said, Hagar, Hagar, what are you doing out here? What's going on? And where's the boy? You know what I mean? She says, well, I put him over there. I don't want to see him die. Da, 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 da. You know. So now go over there and get the child. Lift him up in your hands and hold him up, for I will make him a great nation. I will make him a great nation. Okay? And they're out there in the wilderness, and and look, behold, and she looked and saw a palm tree, and that's when she realized that she can get food or stuff from the palm tree. She set up a tent there, and she taught him how to be a great hunter there. Now the weird part about this is, that and this is Ishmael. So I feel like I feel I can say this, which is kind of is weird though. But anyway, supposedly when you see the Muslims doing their Hajj, I think it's called, and they're walking around this big large structure and stuff, and at one point it looks like they almost make it look like the water going around, is because all these people are going around this big gigantic thing, and when they go have their little what do they call it, the pilgrimage or whatever, and they're in Mecca, okay, and they're going around this thing in this large structure. I don't get it, because supposedly some Muslims say that that's the spot where Hagar held up Ishmael. That's the spot where it happened. But that can't be right, because Mecca is nowhere near all this. So I don't get that. To this very day, I couldn't understand that. Wait a minute, that's supposed to be the spot where Hagar held up Ishmael, but that's not Mecca. Mecca's way over there on Saudi Arabia side. Anyway, so I just thought that I'd bring that to your attention. Okay? All right. God was with the boy, and he grew in the wilderness and became a great hunter. Okay? A great hunter. You see the line of hunters over here? Who was the first one? After Ham. Okay? Okay? Now, even before the flood, it would have been, Cain would have been first. Then the flood, after the flood, Nimrod. Okay? Then, okay. Now then it was Ishmael. Okay? This is Ishmael right here. Okay? Remember that. Okay. All right. It came to pass that Abimelech and Pichal, the king of the captain of the host, spake unto Abraham, saying, God is with you in all that you do. Now therefore I swear unto thee here by God, that you will not deal falsely with me and with my son. Oh, he wanted the well. That's what it was. Yeah. He wanted a particular well of water. I remember that, yeah. Okay, let's move on.